Hey there, Austin fans. Thanks for coming back to the Austin Rugby podcast. If you're listening and you can't see my face, this is not my lifelong dream of waking up one day and having Barry White as in my new voice. However, nice that would be. It's not. The wonderful Texas cedar has really taken a hold of my throat, and so we're talking a little deeper today, so it's not so bad. Maybe the ladies like that. I don't know. We'll see. Alex can't be on today, and because of my voice, we're gonna go pretty quick. We're not gonna have too much to talk about to start off with. A lot of good things have been going on with the AGs. Obviously, we've got the announcement of the partnership with the American Music Foundation, Austin Music Foundation. That is such a cool partnership. We'll talk with Alex, next week about that and another guest. But I think it's pretty cool that Austin Gilgronis are taking the time and recognizing what's happening to the Austin music community, and they are now giving money back to that. I think $15,000 to start off with. There's a new, a new artist every week going to play at the field, so that's pretty exciting too. We got a partnership with Carbach Brewing Company. Take that, Houston. Yes, I know it's a Houston beer, and we talked about it on Texas Rugby Monthly. You can go listen to that, but I think the important thing about that is it's hard in a time of COVID to really have a brewery make a whole lot of profit if they're closed down and they can't go out. So I think that people are upset about it not being an Austin-based brewery, but Carbach is a big company. They're Anheuser-Busch associated. They've got a lot of liquid capital. And so if you can find breweries in Austin that are microbrews that have a lot of liquid capital to go sponsor a team, it's going to be hard pressed to do that. So that's my opinion. If you have your own, go for it. I think it's still a great thing. Carbach is a good beer. Who doesn't love the Hopadillo? And then also you'll shoot your eye out if you like that little winter time beer. Again, lots of stuff to talk about. Big special announcement on this podcast. So cool. We're pretty stoked to see that. That's coming up here a little bit later. But what I want to do is I want to kick it off with one of the new AG signings. He's actually been in both pro leagues here in the United States, played pro rugby with the Denver Stampede. Yes, Denver Stampede. I'm pretty sure, 99.9% sure it's Denver Stampede. I just now forgot it. But yeah, Denver Stampede. I'm pretty sure that's right. And then obviously went over, played with Houston a little bit, played with Old Glory. Coming up, the American Australian, Mr. Jake Turnbull. Jake, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Yeah, good mate. How are you?
I'm hanging in there with the voice. We'll take a couple sips and we'll be all right in some cases. But hey, welcome to Austin, man. Welcome back to Texas. How's that feel?
Oh man, I was missing the heat. DC was pretty cold, but
wait, hold on. You were missing the Texas heat. I just want to point out that you said you were missing the Texas heat.
I take heat any day that compared to training in -4 degrees Celsius. I'm not too sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but I don't really do.
-4 would be somewhere around the low 20s. So
something like that, yeah. So much before. But I mean, as soon as I got here, we were stuck in a week and a half snowstorm. So
yeah, right. So you say, okay, man, we're gonna get out of DC. You're in Australia, I believe. We saw on social media you're in Australia, flying back. You get here a week later, you got the winter apocalypse here in Texas. So what are you thinking to yourself? Like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, I know. Like I was at the beach pretty much, half the day every work on the weekend, and then as soon as I land, the whole state shuts down with a snowstorm. And I mean, we were out of heat, we were out of water. So it was a bit of an experience, but it was pretty fun though. Like all the boys were just stuck indoors and we had trying to through it. So
you guys practicing up on the video games, a little Call of Duty, or what was it? You got to get game of choice that you play.
Well, that was most of it. That's how we pretty much socialised, was just do Call of Duty Warzone. So
there you go.
That actually was a big. So we lost our Wi-Fi. We lost our Wi-Fi for 2 weeks. So,
man.
Yeah, so we brought it back old school.
Yeah, you guys had to play like checkers.
Yes, actually, my roommate Ned, he loves chess, so we've got a board here, so we'll go downstairs and play. And man, I'm starting to pick it up, but he's pretty good. Like he watches videos on it, he reads books on it.
So he was probably all over the Queen's Gambit on Netflix when that came out.
Oh, he loves it. Yeah, he loves it. He got me into it for a bit, but I don't know. I still got a lot to learn.
Man, that's interesting. Well, when we chat with Ned here in a couple weeks, I'll definitely have to ask him about that. I do not play chess. Terrible at chess. Checkers, look out though, man. Look out, checkers. So
there's an unreal chess career. You've got Michael DeWall, Mason Cock, Will McGee, and Ned.
Really,
and like if we're having a few beers at the barbecue or something, they'll get the chessboard out and play each other. And mate, they're really good. It's quite interesting to watch. Man, you wouldn't think so.
You learn something. You learn something new every day. And I tell you what, learning the fact that a bunch of the AG players, like this is totally going on social media right here. This whole conversation about like AG players take on anybody else in a game of chess, like in MLR. I mean, hands down, take your top 5 MLR. Come on, man. Good stuff. Yeah, exactly. So obviously, like I said, you were with Denver Stampede. I had to go back and think about it again. Like, yeah, Denver Stampede is who it was. You got to play with Will McGee. You're playing with Will again. You were in Houston to start off. You had 2 years over there, and then Old Glory. What's it been like to kind of one, come back to Texas and play here, but also just to see kind of the change in the American landscape in the past 5 years or so in professional rugby?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like starting off at Denver Stampede with the Pro League, I mean that was quite interesting.
I don't know what you mean by how interesting, but we can get into really interesting conversations if you want to.
I'll keep it short and sharp. But as a 20-year-old, your dream is to play. Growing up, you want to play professional rugby. It wasn't good enough to do it in Australia, so you come over here and you're starry-eyed, and it was an unreal experience. Don't get me wrong, but it was I think we got. Yeah, it was.
It was something. It was something, everyone.
I'll just go for that.
Well, I mean, but you did get to play. I mean, it's like you got a chance to play in front of crowds. You got a chance to play, in what was the original professional league in the U.S. And then obviously going from that and year one going Houston Sabercats. I mean, you've played against Austin. We'll call it Austin since they weren't the Gilgronis, but you've played a couple matches against Austin, and now coming to play for them.
Yeah, mate, it's cool. So, like, obviously going back, like playing with Will and whatnot, and Tamana Tahu at Denver was just an unreal experience as well. But then went to Houston, and we had the year off. So 2017 we had the year off, so stayed in Australia, and then I was pretty lucky. Got a call from Sam Windsor, who's the fly half for Houston.
Yeah.
And we played together at East, and he was like, mate, there's an opportunity. Would you take it up? And I was like, mate, 100%. Just, mate, when can I fly over? So I think we saw that pretty easy. Came over, and mate, it was great. Like, it was an unreal experience. We had a great team. I think we didn't have the best first year. I think we played something ridiculous, man, like 16 preseason games.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah. And I think it sounded like a good idea until by the time the season started, our body were bits. We were absolutely hanging. And
you'd already played a whole first season for MLR.
Yeah, we did exactly right. We had a great team, a great group of boys. So it was a lot of fun playing against Austin. I think we won the first game against Austin, and I think they started off quite slow.
Yeah,
but they had a few injuries. Like Paddy Ryan was injured, whatnot. So we didn't play their full strength side, but they finished really strong in that back end of the first year. I think they were quite.
Well,
actually,
yeah,
we did them.
We
did them. We had to beat Utah.
Yeah,
and we didn't.
No,
that prevented them from the playoffs.
Yeah, the first year Austin needed not to give up like a bonus point win or bonus point loss to San Diego, I believe it was, and they did. And if they would have not given up the bonus, we would have gotten that playoff spot over, I believe it was San Diego. I have to go back and look at that. It's been so long.
I think we had to beat Utah by 8 points, and I think we were up in the last 10 minutes.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, and then we did it. We lost. We let ourselves down. We let them down. So I think they were quite dirty, actually. Zinni brought that up the other day. Didn't let me forget it.
Oh, so you guys were quite dirty for not winning?
Well, they were dirty at us because they would have gone straight to the playoffs. And they probably could have won as well. They finished really strong.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, had a great. I mean, the team was great. Like they had a lot of good players, and obviously, they lost a lot the next season. Big kind of overhaul. So, but we don't really talk about that next season too much. Give it that first game against Houston, man. You got Sam kicked your boy Sam kicked every single point you guys got. I don't think you guys scored a single try that match, and you ended up losing by like 2 points or something. So Oh man. Anyway.
That's right. It was like
it was opening game.
Rain,
Oh god.
Really well with the pool.
Well, that was the thing about that 2019 season was that every single Austin match at home, it rained or snowed, like or grapple is what they call it. Like it was a shit storm. Nobody God, it was terrible. Anyway, moving on. So I mean, yeah, I mean, but and then last year you get a chance to go over and play with DC, and their first season. That's what was that? What kind of experiences and what that was like about going over there and playing a little bit, because and then obviously playing with one of the most recognized faces in all of rugby in 2020.
Yeah, man, it's unreal. Like Threaten Palamo, he was kind of heavily invested at that. He came to Houston on a loan deal, and me and Jammer kind of followed him over to DC, and it was an unreal experience. Beautiful city. The worst thing about it was, I think we were only there for 3 months, or 4 months before, COVID hit us.
Yeah,
so it was snowing and whatnot. It was really cold the whole time, so we probably didn't get to enjoy the whole city, because at the back end it started to warm up. And mate, what a city it is! Like the last week, we kind of went out and kind of enjoyed everything. Apparently around that May-June month is unbelievable. But DC was a really good setup. Like we lost the first game quite that convincingly.
Yep.
But then we turned it around, four on the trot. And for a first-year team, they just had everything kind of switched on, and it was really good. And to play with Tendai was unreal. I played 10 minutes of tight head with him, which didn't go too well. But to get 3 weeks with him and learn under him was class. And I think, the worst thing about it was COVID kind of shutting that down, because if I got to spend more time with him, I would have benefited a lot, because, mate, as great as he is, he's probably one of the greatest to ever wear that jersey, number 1 jersey, but he's even a better bloke. Like anyone, doesn't matter who it is, a supporter, player, you ask him a question, mate, he just gives you his complete undivided attention, and he's very charismatic, and I know he's doing some good things now. He's got his fingers in a lot of pies with a lot of businesses, and mate, he'll make an absolute killing in his next chapter of his life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was obviously, when you guys came here to play, you played against us down in San Antonio, and I should take a step back first. Last week, Alex and I talked about the prop position, and we got your position wrong. I said you were tight head, but you actually play loose head, right?
Yeah.
So just making sure. And I said you can cover both, but for everybody who's listening now, last week when I was bumbling and couldn't figure out what Jake played because I couldn't find it anywhere, I was wrong. So so he plays loose head prop. So for everybody listening, but you get a chance to play. We thought you and the Beast were going to come down and to San Antonio and have a match, and I thought that was a great match. Kind of a turning around match for the AGs last year. Even though we lost the game to DC, I thought overall is a really exciting match. To see on the field and see what could be kind of an inkling of what this team was becoming, and then what it has led into now.
Oh, mate, without a doubt. I think we started off strong. I think it was 20-0 in the first 20 minutes, and then they just turned it around, and, mate, they were an unreal team. Yeah. We were quite lucky to probably get away with it. No, really strong. I mean, Frankie Halley just tore us to bits.
How nice.
Sorry?
What's that? No, you were saying about Whopper?
That was the game where Whopper landed on a chair. Someone left a stool on the side of the.
Oh my gosh!
He smacked his head.
I was announcing that. I was up in the press box announcing that game, and somebody's like, "There's a chair on the field," and I went, "Why is there a chair on the field?" Like,
mate, there was a maul, and we pushed the maul to the side, and then he hit his doink, and you kind of look over, and Whopper's like, "Oh, mate, what was that?" And he got the chair and threw it into the crowd. But
it's like the WWF.
Game, Danny Tussatala. Oh, mate, pretty much, exactly. Danny Tussatala after that game came up to me and he goes, "Mate, this team, 100% is going to take the 3rd spot in the West." Because, I mean, there was a massive turning point for them as well. We walked away from that game thinking we were extremely lucky to get away with those points.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to, kind of the AGs last season and kind of what Austin's been doing in the past couple of years is we tend to give up early points I mean, you talk about the first game of the season against Toronto last year. A minute and a half into the game, we gave up a try. So it's like, let's hold off on that. Like, I think we gave it get up to you all at DC. And that's a tough thing to come back for, because you're always on the back foot, and you got to get that leg up to start off with.
Yeah, but I'm sure, mate, if that whole season played out, it would be interesting to see how it goes, because, mate, AG are going to be a good team.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a good team and what's going on, like it's an exciting season. Like off season, we talk about depth, we talk about all this stuff. Like you played, you were in, I guess this past year, you're playing with Randwick down in the Shute Shield, right? In Australia. What was it like to get the call up to come here to Austin? How did that go as we're kind of entering the new year?
Mate, so I did the Cardinal sin, and I actually jumped ship from my normal club, Eastern Suburbs, to Randwick. But I got a lot of flack for it. Oh, yeah, my family's Eastern Suburbs through and through. So, and my stepbrother, he was the hooker as well. So I got a lot of.
Is it your stepbrother who signed with the Giltinis this year?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, stepbrother. So my mum's married to his dad, and they've been together for like over 20 years or something now.
That's awesome. That'll be a fun match too. That's a good too. So yeah, okay. So you betrayed your squad from family heritage to go play with Randwick. I mean, obviously, you played the whole season down there.
Played the whole season down there, and it was. Mate, it wasn't an easy decision, but it ended up paying off for me. Like, I don't think if I didn't do it, I probably wouldn't have ended up at the AGs.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they kind of, Sam and Mark kind of saw me play, and I was playing some pretty good footy down there, and it definitely paid off from there. We made the playoffs, and it was the first time Randwick made the playoffs in 2 or 3 years or something like that. And then, So I ended up making team of the year from that as well. So I was pretty.
Oh man, fantastic!
Paid off, but.
So I guess what was it like? I mean, how did the call come? Who gave you the ring that says, "Hey, we want you to come back to Texas and come to the AGs"? Was it Coach Sam?
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
I think we played Warringah, which is Sam and Mark's.
Yeah, that's their
Jones' club. Sorry. And Sammy's dad's still the manager there, and he's a great bloke. And I had a pretty good game against Warringah, and I think that kind of started it off. And we started chatting and whatnot, and he was keeping an eye on my game, and we would chat a fair bit about it. And now I'm here, so pretty lucky for it.
That's pretty awesome. What's it like? I mean, obviously, growing up in Australia, you watched Sam, you watched Mark play with the Taz, and probably watched Sam. I don't know how much of an NRL guy you are, so everybody has their allegiances, but I don't know how much you watched him play, for Manly as well. But what's it like to kind of look up to those guys that you now get to play for? Oh.
Yeah, so he kind of cut out there for me. I think I got the question though. Mate's class. I mean,
technical difficulties.
Mate, he was one of the best. Yeah, technical difficulties. I mean, Mark was an unbelievable player. I think he had some unlucky injuries, I think, but mate, he was incredible. And Sam was just tough as nails. So they're pretty good. They work well. They work well with each other. They're really good. Yeah. And they both, Sam does the defense, Mark does the attack, and I think the most exciting thing about us is our attack, and we're going to be a fun team to watch. You've got some really good ball players like Mac Mason, Will McGee playing off each other with Bryce Campbell, Frank Halley, Jeff Hasler. Jeff Hasler, mate, what a boy he is.
Yeah, right.
He's unreal. And you got Cole Davis, Zinni, mate. How good? I don't think he's a forward. As long as we secure the ruck for him,
yeah.
Just let them play.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of the excitement that we see. But I love that there's those around the league, like in the fan groups and stuff, that they keep talking about their team, and nobody's saying anything about Austin. I'm just like, just wait, man. Like, I can see how the team is formed, skill set, and the people he's bringing in, Coach Sam and Coach Gerard are bringing in, quality players, like building a family, as I think is a big thing that they've been talking about. And I love that. And I love the way that hopefully that meshing and that gelling is happening, on the pitch for you guys right now through training.
Yeah, mate, it is. And the snowstorm as well, it prevented us from training, but the best thing about it, we became really close off the field.
Yeah.
So, we'll go into each other's houses and having dinner and looking after each other. And that was, the silver lining from that is how we bonded during that crisis, if you want to, not crisis, but during that kind of period of time.
Yeah.
And we took a lot of good things out of it. And, mate, we're a super close-knit team. And Sam and Mark are doing a really good job with kind of bringing that family ethos, and so it's we're going to be a good team. I like what you mentioned before. We're happy to fly under the radar.
Yeah.
We'll start strong, we'll get a couple of wins, and then we'll make our mark.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Hey, first game we got Utah, so that'll be make a mark on them, make up for that tie last year at home. Well, I mean, the battle, we talked about it last week. I mean, there's battle on the wing, but I want to go back and talk about like this battle at the prop position. I mean, come on, man. It's you and Wapa and Lerome White, he's got an MLR shield, and then on the other side you got Patty Ryan, and you've got you've got Mason Peterson, and you've got your roommate, our next guest, and the big announcement that we're unleashing on the podcast to show that he's signed with the team. That's pretty. And then of course you've got Hugh, and you've got Robbie at hooker, and Mason at hooker as well, the other Mason. I mean, that front line is lethal. Like, just the depth, man. I can't remember ever seeing a depth of a front line, the front row in any season of MLR so far, like that, like the quality level, like that's how I see it, at least.
Oh, mate, 100%. And like, it's the age-old saying, as cliche as it sounds, but front rowers drop like flies.
Yeah,
we get injured quite a lot. So, and it's good. Like, if someone gets injured, it's just next man up, and there's not like a worry like is he supposed to know to hold his weight? Like, we know it's going to do just as good a job. And at training, it's super competitive, and everyone's on their toes. Like, you can't walk in and go, I can just go through the motion, because if you start going through the motion, there's another bloke who's just going to go. So that's the best thing. It's a super competitive environment, and it'll get the best out of that group. And to learn off someone like Paddy Ryan is unreal. Like, I've been trying to hang off him and Whopper as well, mate. Whopper's unreal. Like, I've never met a coach who's super detailed as him.
Yeah.
And his main role is as a player.
Yeah.
But he's still, as soon as he's off the field, he's coach mode. Goes back to the office. He'll review this, and he'll come back to me and be like, "Oh, hey mate, like, this is what I think you need to work on. Sweet, give me just a couple of pointers, and not too much, just maybe 3 pointers, and go sweet." And then I'll look at that 100%, and then just try and do better the next time. And he's really, really good like that. He's easy to talk to, and he's a solid coach for I guess this is his first year.
No, he was with the team last as a coach. I mean, technically as a player coach, yes, it's his first year. But last year, for everybody that I've talked to said last year, as soon as he came in, he kind of stepped into a player coach role in the forwards, because we just didn't have a forwards coach. So yeah, I mean, technically it's his first official year. But I mean, when you have somebody with Wapa's experience, just overall, like, I mean, the fact that he can come in instantly and make that kind of impact that he made. I mean, he's a big dude. Like, you're a big guy. Like, we like, but Wapa is that dude is, man. I've stood next to him one time and went, wow, like, it's a hoss.
Oh, hey. He's employed a Hilux diesel engine. He just goes. He doesn't stop. He's real. He's a big unit, and and he's still got it. He's unreal. Like, you should have seen it training on Tuesday. I think he made about 3 line breaks.
Good. I like seeing that. I like. we look forward to it.
It's unreal to watch.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you've got the season is fast approaching. First scrimmage, I guess. First test, not being an actual test, but be a first kind of test of the guys is going to be, what is it, next Thursday against Houston over in Houston? Is that right?
Yeah. In Houston, and then we play LA on the Saturday. So.
Oh wait, you're playing. I'm sorry. We may not know this, so you're going to. It's okay. We can bleep it out. I don't know, but so you're going. You're going to.
Hang on.
Oh, Jake giving away secrets. So you guys are scheduled to go to play LA on Sunday, a couple days after you play in Houston. So after that thing that Jake just said that we had to bleep out due to technical difficulties, or the fact that he wasn't allowed to say what he just said, that's okay. We'll go on to the next question. So the season's fast approaching. You've got Houston on Thursday, which is next Thursday, which is kind of exciting, and then obviously, then you got Utah at home, Bold Stadium, first game of the season. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's starting to see what the show they put on for Bold Stadium. But to go to Houston's going to be a good matchup. I mean, they've brought some quality players. I mean, they've got that big Georgian tight head.
Oh God!
So that'll be
something like Kishvili or something. This is usually a Georgian name. So
yeah, he usually ends with Billy or something like that. Yeah. They've got these Fijian wingers. They're going to be a class team, mate. Like Luke Beecham, Cecil Garber, Devet Ruse and whatnot. So it'll be a good test for us. And to go to Utah. I mean, Utah finished quite strong. It was a shame to see Chris Latham not come over, and obviously he's got the with the COVID and whatnot, which is understandable.
Yeah, it's tough. That's awesome though.
Yeah,
I mean, so, and then the party afterwards. We got that with the Carbach beer and Paul Oakenfold for sure. Since you were in the first ever commercial for the AGs. Cooking up with CEO himself, man. How fun was that? How fun was that to do that commercial?
It was pretty good. I mean, you got free beer and you got a free feed, free barbecue. So I mean,
can't complain on that, right? That's awesome.
Not at all. Dream. To be honest, I've never actually heard of him, but not to be rude. And then when I started listening to him in the car. He's actually unreal. I put him on Spotify. He's got is it close to 1.5 million listeners a month?
Yeah, something like that.
And I was like, I didn't know him by name, but then I'm like, hang on, I've heard that from Lock, Stock and Two Barrels and stuff. There's Guy Ritchie films. I think he does.
He does a ton of Guy Ritchie stuff.
I know Guy Ritchie. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And Starry Surprise and Cafe Del Mar. And me and Ned actually don't mind it. We pump him a fair bit in the car.
There you go. Big shout out to the first musical act of the season with Paul Oakenfold. Like Ned and Jake approve.
Yeah, right.
Good stuff, man. Well, hey, I as we wrap things up, any kind of last words from you? Anything you're looking forward to? You still want to try to apologize to family back home for going and playing with Randwick or anything? Or
yeah, no. I already caught that, mate. Thanks for having me on, mate. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. So, mate, look forward to seeing you at some games.
Yeah, we're hoping you can get a lot of good runouts over there because you are USA eligible, which is exciting, especially with the World Cup coming up in a couple years. Man, how great would that be to have you and Patty Ryan and Mason as well, man? To get three props from the AGs headed to Team USA, like that would be get to the Eagles, man. That would be fantastic. Along with Zinni, who's been in the short selection. We'll take it.
McGee.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I was going Mason and Zinni because they just got selected, but yeah, Will's already on he's been on the team.
Yeah, he's a regular.
He's a regular. Everybody knows him. So, well, hey, Jake, really appreciate you coming on to the podcast, man. Good chatting with you. We look forward to watching you and Wapa and the lads battle it out for those starting one, man. Those coveted numbers. We look forward to it. But thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you back on a little later this season. We'll talk about all the good things that have been happening with the AGs.
Look forward to it, mate. Cheers, legend. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers. Jake Turnbull, everybody.